This is the book of Matthew, chapter 24, and verse 21. It says, "For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world, nor to this time, nor shall it ever be. And except those days shall be shortened, there shall no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days they shall be shortened." All right, I want to start off with saying Shalom. All praises unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Yahweh who the world ignorantly calls God, and Yahweh Shai who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. And it's gonna be a little video, man. I was just having some faults. Right, I was just thinking, earlier, man, that these are some turbulent times, man. Okay, like I'll give an example. In water, right, like in physical water, as you can see on the screen there, you have rough waters. In fact, there's the Apostle Paul. If you go to what is it, Acts? I believe it's 27th chapter, 26th chapter. He got shipwrecked onto islands. All right, and you can go read that yourself. And even the apostles, when they were with Christ, they fall on they were going to be taken under. Okay, because of the sea, right? But then Yahweh Shai, who the world calls Christ, calmed the sea, right, by telling it to be still. All right, and then also if you go to the book of Jonah, right? Jonah was sent to Nineveh, but he decided to partake on the ship journey, somewhere else. But what ended up happening was of course the Lord put a tempest in the sea, right, to make the waters turbulent, so that the men of the ship ended up tossing Jonah overboard, because they came to find out that it was actually him who was the reason why they were in such turbulence. And when they cast him into the sea, the waves became calm again. All right, but that was the Lord's will for that to happen. You can read the rest of the story yourself. But just to give a couple of examples out there, man, of physical turbulence in the scriptures. Okay, but the turbulence I'm talking about is dealing with what we see going on right now in the world, man. Okay, because we're definitely in some tough times here, man. Okay, we're in some tough times right now. Okay, and I mean, hell, even these cats, even these cats that are not in the truth, they're going for something too, man. Okay, everybody is being affected right now, man. Okay, whether you're in the truth, right, whether you're in the know, or whether you're, in the world, right, Jake is catching hell regardless, man. Okay, so, just by looking, at the society, that we reside in, specifically over here in Babylon the Great, aka America. But, over here it's terrible, man. Okay, what's going on? But then you look around the world, like look what's going on over in Australia right now, which we have, brother Luke over there, right? Luke Matt, also known as the Light in this Dark World on YouTube, right? Go subscribe to that brother. But they're having some rough times over there in over in Australia, which I believe Luke told me that he took the juice. And all I'm gonna say to that is, hey brother, just make sure you don't get the the follow-ups. No, the follow-up juices. All right, just make sure you don't get the follow-up juices. All right, that's all I'll say on that. All right, just make sure you don't get the follow-up juices that are, that they're trying to get into you every month. All right, just stay away from those, and then you should be all good. But that's just one example, man. Okay, that things are gonna get a lot worse. And excuse me if I sound a little, um, I'm trying to keep my voice down a little bit. Um, but the point of the matter is still clear, man. Okay, but going back to what I started off the video with, is it says what? There's gonna be time of trouble like never before. But for the elect's sake, those days are gonna be shortened. Right, so for the elect's sake, which we believe that we're the elect, okay, but we don't know who that is yet. Okay, I can't say I'm of the elect. Got mind of God out there saying that he's been sealed on January the 1st. It's like, how the hell do you know? You know what I'm saying? But the point's still made clear, man. Okay, that we're really in some tough times here. Okay, so we just have to continue to teach this truth, to the best of our abilities, man. Okay, for those of us in the know right now, you should just be following those laws, statutes, and commandments to the best of your ability, man. Okay, you're not going to be able to be perfect on this side. Okay, you can't fully follow the commandments on this side. Okay, but you to the best of your ability, you do what you can. All right, you have to do what you can. All right, because we're not telling you like what these churches are out here doing, man. They're telling you that that you don't have to follow the laws. I mean, hell, a lot of these churches talking about the what is those guys, the Catholics, they're on there saying that the law is done away with, right? That there is no more laws, right? That you don't have to follow the law. Well, some of them teach differently. Some teach you don't have to follow the law, and then other ones say that the law was done away with. But here's my argument to that then, is if that's the case, well, then by logical deduction, right, if there is no more law that has to be followed, well, then that has to imply that there's also no sin, because what is sin? 1 John 3:4, for sin is the transgression of the law. So wait a second, if sin is the transgression of the law, but if there is no sin, how can you, if there is no law, if there is no law, how can you sin? And nobody can answer that. So that clearly, cuts these guys out here, man, that are talking about, that sin, or I should say the law, is done away with. That clearly, excuse my stutter, that clearly is not true. Okay, because if that is true, well, then that means that there is no sin, which means that there's no reason for Christ to return. By logical deduction, that's what these Christian churches are teaching, man. And I know because I have certain relatives that I know that are higher up in the church. All right, so they're on there saying, oh, we welcome the LGBT community. We welcome them to the church. Jesus loves them, right? God loves those people. That's what these churches teach us. That's not true though. Scriptures tell you in what is that? Psalms 5:5, the foolish shall not stand in thy sight. Thou hatest all workers of iniquity. Go to what is that? Proverbs 16:4. It says what? That the Lord is angry with the wicked every day. If you go to what is that? If you go to Ecclesiasticus chapter 6 and verse 12, it says what? That the Lord hates sinners. Nearly paraphrasing the text, you can look those up yourself. Okay, but those are verses that Christians never talk about. In fact, I was watching, which I don't want to get too far off topic from what I was speaking of, but earlier I was watching a couple videos about the about the Apocrypha. And the reason why I did that is I was watching a documentary that somebody put together about the about this whole so-called dinosaur myth, right? So the guy was actually refuting that teaching, because you got idiots out here saying that dinosaurs don't exist, and they're very serious about that, right? So I was watching a video where the guy was showing, proof that these creatures did exist by way of, showing, cave drawings, ancient, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Artwork depicting these creatures, clay figures they found, and stuff like that, which is very compelling. But then he lost me at one point. He said that he made a mention of the Apocrypha, which I'm not sure the whole context of why, but he made mention of it for a second and said, "Oh, the Apocrypha is not inspired." Right? Those books, even though they might have some historical, facts in them, right? Even though there might be, say, certain things that are right, you know, you should be cautious when dealing with them because they're not inspired of the Most High. So I was thinking to myself, well, wait a second. If you go to, what is that? Matthew chapter 23 and verse 37, Christ literally quoted the Apocrypha. And how you know? Because you read that verse I quoted, and then you go to 2nd Ezra chapter 1 and verse 30. Okay? It literally says the exact same thing. So even the Messiah himself directly quoted from the Apocrypha. Matthew quoted from the Apocrypha. So did John the Revelator. And I believe there's a few other references as well. But for the sake of time, I'm not going to pull those up. But, I did a little Google search to find, some guys who, some of these religious channels out here, man, just to see what they, think regarding the Apocrypha. And primarily, they were all saying, oh, the Apocrypha is they call it canonized scripture. Right? Scripture that's not inspired is basically what that means. Canonized scripture. There was actually one video where there was a Catholic on there saying that the Apocrypha is inspired. So I got to go back and watch the rest of that. So that was a shock. Someone was on there defending the Apocrypha who's not a so-called Hebrew Israelite, which I've seen a couple of them over the years. But long story short, I watched one of the videos. I believe it was with these guys. They called their channel, what is it? Catholic Answers. Catholic Answers. You can look them up on YouTube. I tried to call into their show once, but I was on hold. I was like the 50th person in hold. So I stayed on there for probably about 45, 50 minutes. And they still didn't get to my call, right? Because I was, at that point, probably like the 27th person in line to, to get my question answered. I was going to ask them about the, about Christmas, because they teach that you can obey Christmas. Let me rephrase myself. Follow Christmas, right? Practice Christmas. But I was going to ask them about, what is that? Jeremiah, the 10th chapter. You can read that yourself. But it clearly cuts Christmas. So I was going to go on there and ask them about that. But that's a story for another time. I ended up not, getting on to the show because I had to wait about an hour. But anyway, I was watching a little 2-3 minute video that somebody uploaded because they asked them a question regarding the Apocrypha. And basically what the Catholic Answers was saying is that this is what they said in a nutshell. They said the Apocrypha is not inspired. Even though it might have some historical facts in it, that could be true. But it's not inspired of God. Why? Because we see none of the apostles or anybody in the Bible quoting from the Apocrypha is the exact words they used to discredit the Apocrypha. And I was thinking to myself, well, wait a second. Hell, I'm going to have to call into the Catholic Answers because I believe they do a live show every couple days. So ETT might have to call into the Catholic Answers, man. I'm going to have to give them a run for their money. Which they don't know what the hell they're talking about to begin with. But, I'm sure somebody can get some edification from it. Because, it's very clear that, Christ himself and other apostles did quote from the Apocrypha. That's very clear. Anyone that don't agree, well, then he don't know the scriptures. Inside joke. But going back, to the video, right? I don't want to get sidetracked. So what I was, from what I was saying earlier, man, is that, we're definitely in some serious times here, man. All right, so we got to take this seriously. All right, I mean, hell, man, as I said, if you just look at the economic, you know, state of Babylon the Great, you can clearly tell this place is clearly, in a downward spiral, man. Right? This is in a downward spiral. Okay, this place is done, man. In fact, there's an article out there that said that, 70% of Americans would not be able to cover a emergency $500, um, expense, right? 70% of all Americans would not be able to cover a emergency $500 expense. That's like, let's say that if you, if a car tire gets, flattened and you have to pay for it to be towed away and you don't have insurance. I mean, that'll empty your pocket just like that, man. I mean, hell, you may as well take the money out of your pants pocket and burn it on fire. That's how much that'll cost. You know what I'm saying? So that's just one example, man. All right, we're talking hundreds of dollars, you know, over a flat tire if you don't have insurance, which most people do. But, there's plenty of examples that can be given, man. Okay, so think about that. We got cats out here like, Ben Mala. Look that guy up on YouTube. He's a real estate investor who lives down in, down in Florida. I believe he lives on the West Coast. I could be mistaken. But he was just flexing the other day that he purchased a $400,000 vehicle. Right, so that shows you how can you have a society where you have certain people out there who can drop $400,000 on a new toy, and keep in mind this guy already has like 10 different other cars that in his possession, right? So here it is, you have people who can do that, right? Flex money, drop monies like that. Got cats out here that are spending a damn $1 million on Pokemon cards. Shout out to anybody who knows who I'm making fun of. You got guys doing that, man. It's but yeah, the average person, right, as what's that cat? Just like the full spectrum survival would call them, right? The foundation class, which I'm a part of that class as well. Which you probably are as well. Well, unless you're mine of God or, someone like that, right, with a fat wallet. Inside joke. But these people are fruit, man. And again, I myself, as being part of the foundation class, right, part of the working class, working, paycheck to paycheck, living paycheck to paycheck, I can affirm that that's certainly true. Right, that we're done, man. We're fruit. Okay, and it's getting to the breaking point at this point, man. It really is. And I'm talking for, tens of millions. Tens of millions, and that's an understatement of people, out here, really all over the world, but primarily we're focusing on, here in Babylon the Great, aka America. It's coming to a breaking point, man. All right, these people can't live people can't live like this anymore, man. Okay, with such great, divide between the haves and the have-nots. Okay, because you got cats out here, man, going over, say, the last 2 years, because we've almost been in this whole, situation for almost 2 years now. You got cats out here, man, that before this, global situation, I gotta watch the words I use, they were, dirt ass broke, man. Okay, but now they're sitting with a bank account full of, $100 million. And there's plenty of people out there. You can look up some names. All right? Plenty of people who changed just like that. Hell, I remember there was this one story, man, when this whole thing first started. I believe it was down in Florida. because I was down there at that point. There was a couple that went out and they spent like $40,000 on cleaning supplies such as Febreze, hand sanitizer, face diapers, right? Gloves, air fresheners, Clorox, right? All of that stuff, right? Cleaning supplies. And guess what? They flipped it and made $70,000 to $80,000, man. Think about that. They spent $40,000 and came out with almost $80,000. So that shows you what they did. They went and they purchased it for that much, and then they charged double the amount to people. And that's a cruel thing to do, but that just shows you, man, that there's some people out here who took advantage of other people's suffering, or they took advantage of another person's problem, right? Because families, and I can speak from experience, right? I can speak from experience. You got guys out here, man, that, they couldn't get their hands on what they needed, so they'd be willing to pay double, if not triple the amount to get what they need, right? So it took advantage. These people took advantage of everyone else's, suffering, right, or misfortune. All right, but that's just what it is, man. Okay, that's that's the world you live in. So you just got to, be mindful of that. Okay, but the point I'm getting at is, we're definitely, in some turbulent times here, man. Right, these are some troubling times. Because we're really coming into to Jacob's trouble here, right? Daniel, the 12th chapter. We're at a time of trouble that was like never before. That's the time that we're coming into, man. You got idiots out here, groups out here like, what is it, the LUIC? They're teaching that there's not going to be any such thing as Jacob's trouble, right? That you're just going to cakewalk into the kingdom. That's what these cats are out here teaching, man. Got mighty God out there saying that, Christ can return any day now, right, to redeem his elect before the tribulation. Well, wait a second. If we go back to the beginning of the video, I read a verse that said what? That for the elect's sake, those days they will be shorn. Right, so clearly the elect are going to be on the earth during the time of trouble. Right, you ain't going anywhere. Right, everybody's going to be on the earth when all these things are taking place, man. And if that's not true, because you got these guys out here, as I said, mind of God, LOP, which I'm not hating on those brothers are cool, but, they're going off, because if they're sitting there saying that, that this whole juice is the MOB, well, wait a second. Why is the elect still here? If we're in the hour of temptation right now, which is what the hour of temptation is, when everyone's presented with the MOB. So if that's out here right now by way of this juice, well, why is the elect still here? I asked him that, and he doesn't know. You know what I'm saying? So, it's evident. These guys out here, man, that are, that are teaching, don't know what they're talking about. Which I'll say this about, Mind of God's page. I was watching his, he did a debate with Flat Earth Boxer yesterday. I believe it was like 2 hours, 16 minutes long. I gave it a watch. It was actually a good stream. I watched the whole thing. They had a very good discussion, right? That was a very good discussion that they both, entertained, may I say. Which it was clear Flat Earth Boxer, he knew some stuff. I'll give him that. But then he clearly went off. Like, I'll give an example. There was a point in the stream, which I want to do a video about this. But there was a point in the stream where they brought up basically something along the lines of, what is the kingdom going to be like? Is it just going to be like, say, the two of us and, a couple other guys just sitting around, ruling over each other in the kingdom? I mean, that doesn't seem like much fun, is what they were saying. But the whole point I wanted to bring up is like, well, wait a second. But that proves that there's going to be servants in the kingdom of heaven. That people are going to be in slavery in the kingdom of heaven. right? But guys, those kind of guys, when they hear that, they'll be like, oh, that's a false doctrine. Okay, well, wait a second. If that's the case, well, who are the other nations that are going to be bringing their riches into the Christ kingdom? In Revelation, the 21st chapter, and Isaiah, the 60th chapter. And if you go to, what is that? Psalms, the 2nd chapter. Right? If you go to, which you can look up all these and read them yourself. Right? You can sharpen your own sword. Which is what we should be doing. Which I got to give a shout out to Brother Dasan. Right? I got to give a shout out to the Brother Dasan. Okay, you know I usually do videos with that brother every now and then. Hey, that brother, that brother's doing good, man. Right? That brother's pretty much done with reading the entire Bible now, man. Hey, you got to give that brother a pat on the back, man. That brother's doing good, right? He's on fire for this truth, man. Okay, so Brother Dasan deserves a pat on the back, right? Go subscribe to that brother. You can probably find him in the comment section. But going back to what I was saying, man, is that it's very clear, man. Okay, that there's only so long that the world can stay in the state that it's in right now, and you can see it, right? Every day you turn on the news, there's some type of whether it's natural disaster or uproar of the people that's going on. Oh, and that brings us to what is that? 2nd Ezra, the 9th chapter. It says what? That when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, and this is the same time where the highest will begin to visit the world. Right, so the highest, which is what? Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls God, is visiting the world right now. This is why you see all of these UFO sightings, because those UFOs are the chariots of the Most High. Right, the angels of God are in those UFOs. So that's why we're seeing all these sightings at such a rapid rate right now, is because the Lord is visiting the world. It's very clear, man. You got idiots out here, and I know certain guys, man, saying, oh, well, we ain't living in those times. People have been saying that for hundreds of years. In fact, I watched a documentary yesterday about the demonic plague, right, the Black Death, which happened in the 13th century. Which it was a very good documentary. Okay, but they mentioned in there, my ear heard it, right? It caught my eye, for lack of better words, as they said that people thought that the world was coming to an end, right? People thought that these were plagues from God. Oh, and that brings to mind the plagues in Revelation 16th chapter, right? The boils in the flesh for those who take the MOB, right? So guys might have thought, oh, well, these are, the plagues, right? And that was back in the 13th century. So we're talking, 700 years ago, 800 years ago here. Okay, yeah, 700 years ago, roughly. Okay, when this was going on. So that shows you that it is true what these guys said, that people have been saying that forever, which that is true, right? That is true, that people have been saying that, ever since, Christ was, redeemed, ever since Christ was redeemed, went back up into unto the Father. People have always been saying that. But with that being said, there's never been a time in history where the world was the way it is right now, where you see earthquakes going on every single day all over the world. You have all these uproars going on. You have a pestilence going on that's affecting the whole world. You have an economic situation that's affecting the entire world. All right? I mean, it's just, there's so much that's going on right now, man. That's very clear that, that we're in those times, man. Hey, and these cats, man, going back to what I was saying about LUIC, hey, don't believe what these guys are saying, man. Scriptures say what? That, if the blind lead the blind, they will both fall into a ditch, right? So, hey, get with Great Millstone, follow ETT, follow these guys that are really telling you the truth, man. Okay, because you're gonna find out very soon that these other camps out here, man, they've been lying to you, man. All right, you're gonna find that out very soon. Anyway, I'm gonna call that the video there. If anybody made this far into the video, go ahead and put hashtag water in the comment section. That's hashtag water in the comment section below. And I'm gonna say shalom.